Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Lloyd.
Is on the store. Yeah, that's 15 acres, so.
Ruby, are you waiting on me?
No, I'm waiting on Colin.
Oh, okay, thank you. I didn't know. All right.
I'm going to reach out to the other exec committee members and see where they're at. Because right now we only have 2.
Good morning. Sorry I'm late.
Good morning.
We're still waiting on Jonathan and Sharita and Colin. I did send out the minutes yesterday afternoon. So yeah, I'm gonna take time to look over those. So when we get ready to approve minutes, we can do that while we wait.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
I am going to have to drop off about 10:50 because I've actually got two meetings at 11 o'clock. So,
Okay,
so
that's
Ruby,
fine.
just make sure I get this recording and I can catch up on what I missed, but I'm going to have to jump off at 10:50.
Okay.
No problem.
Thank
Good morning, all. Apologize for my tardiness.
We're still waiting for Sharita and Jonathan to join.
All right. I'll stick an agenda in the chat here. It's a
Okay.
pretty short agenda today. Sort of set our agenda for, well, it should be January agenda, not February. Sorry about that.
Yeah, don't do that to me, Colin. My mind is.
I know. I know. I just noticed it as I cut and pasted it in there. I was looking at our agenda planning document, had January and February in front of me, and yeah. I'm sorry, Dr. Birch.
Hey, good morning, team. I apologize for my late arrival there. Just got caught up on a phone conversation that ran long.
No worries.
That's not my excuse. I just lost track of time.
Oh.
Put up the corrected.
Your Sharita, I always love it.
There we go. There's the corrected agenda, Dr. Birch.
Thank you.
Somehow put the February HSAC. We don't need to plan February HSAC meeting yet. We need to do January. So anyway, I will turn it over to you, Madam Chair. I think we've got everybody here.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Happy New Year, 2022. I guess we're going to start with the approved minutes. Has everyone went over them?
I move that we accept the minutes as provided.
Okay.
That was Sharita. I'm sorry. I made the motion.
Yeah, it was Sharita made the motion and second by Helen. Uh, I guess we say everyone agrees. Ayes. Help me out here, y'all.
Oh, yeah,
They could-
yeah, absolutely. It sounds like you're calling for the vote now. We've had the first and the second, right? So you can say, just like you did, call for the ayes and nays.
Yeah.
So I vote, of course, to adopt the minutes.
All in agreement?
Aye.
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 All righty.
Give a unanimous consent, it sounds like.
Yes, yes.
I was gonna say nay, but since I wrote them, I'll go ahead and vote yes.
Oh,
Well, thank
Dr.
you,
Birch.
sir. Truly appreciate it. So we're gonna set the agenda for the January HSAC.
I can share my screen if you would like with the
Yes,
agenda
please.
planning document. Oops, hold on. Hit the wrong button. There we go. Right. So there's two things that we have on here that were placeholders from our last meeting. The ERAP 2 with legal aid and the police chief. I can share that ERAP 2 legal aid is not going to happen in January, given how busy legal aid and the community development department have been over the last month, meeting every single day for multiple hours to try to be ready to roll out ERAP 2 at legal aid. So I think it's better for us to hold off and have legal aid invite them once they have it up and running to come and talk to us, because asking them to come make a presentation while they're trying to get this up and running is going to be a bit of an ask for them to do. But we could get some information from them perhaps about how to apply, if that's ready, that we could share with the group.
Oh, have you heard back from them since earlier this week? Because I know Sarah had wanted to try to have a launch date, but then she said it wasn't looking like that. But then she wanted to have a training to train, people who had wanted to help out with that.
I
So it's
haven't
just
been,
put on hold until next month.
well, I think that, well, we've got two parts. Legal aid is trying to stand up, taking referrals starting sometime next week or the week
Right.
after. I don't know the details of it. I know that we have not asked legal aid due to the priority is getting the program stood up. So that's been the highest priority. I'm suggesting if we're going to invite legal aid, we ask them to come in February or March, once they've got the program up and can share how it's going.
Oh, okay.
And answer questions that may come up that we've heard once it's up and running. It's a little premature to have them come and speak in 2 weeks when that's maybe a week after they get it opened. And they're probably going to be, on a hamster wheel, running 100 miles an hour, trying to deal with a backlog and a pent up demand for assistance.
Can I ask a question, Madam Chair?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, I'm trying to wrap my mind around this. I don't know. I don't know if it's still baby brain or just COVID time brain. So is this to mean that ERAP will not be handled by DSS? It will be handled by legal aid?
Yes.
Okay, so the plan is for them to go live next week. How are people being made aware that there's even a plan to go live next week?
Sarah had wanted to launch that, but it's like put on hold right now. I haven't gotten check my emails from that this morning, Sharita, But that was what the plan was. Yeah, legal aid will be taking over the ERAP for this 2022. I have to still go back through here, but she had initially wanted to try to launch it on the 10th, and then on the 17th, have training for people to help others fill out the application when they get started. So right now it's like it won't be setting off Monday on the 10th. So I really haven't spoke with Larissa or checked the other stuff from Sarah D'Amato.
I'll see if I can get an answer to your question, Sharita, about how and when legal aid is planning to announce they're ready for applications. Let me see if I might be able to get that answer while we're meeting.
Question, was the rationale to move it out of DSS and into legal aid to try to curtail some of our landlords' reluctance to work with the program? Like, what was I don't know how I missed this, so I'm just trying to understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can try to give you as much context as I'm aware of. Essentially, DSS had a big pot of money and
Right.
they were working through it. They got to the point where they had more referrals than they thought they had money available. They paused referrals and are currently still, I don't know if they're still going through it and processing applications that were in the pipeline with whatever money they have left. I don't know the answer to that question, but that's kind of what was happening when they paused it. They were going through and trying to spend out spend out money. Then DSS determined that they were just capacity-wise overloaded and could not continue doing that program. And then it came up, there needed to be another provider. And the city chose to contract with legal aid to continue the next wave of funding.
I didn't realize.
That's how legal aid became the contractor for part 2 of this.
So at some point they're just going to give us like a presentation on it or whatever, because right now with all the different pots like LEAP and all these different funding streams, and this time of the year, a lot of people, I don't know if it's just the holidays and people overextend themselves, a lot of people are trying to get assistance. So I am trying to navigate connecting my folks to these resources that we have in abundance to get help. But I keep hitting snags and having to call other people to try to push stuff through. And I just want to be really clear on navigating this.
And
go ahead, Colin.
I was going to say, my hope is that while we may not be able to have legal aid come and give a presentation, my hope is we'll be able to have some information or a handout or something that we can send out to the COC or share with people on or before our HSAC meeting about ERAP 2.
I could piggyback on that. On Monday, Larissa and I got an email from Sarah, and at that time she said the tentative launch date is going to be, was hoped to be on 1/10. Then she said they're meeting every day. She said there will be an online portal for tenants to apply. The link is going to be available on their website, and they will also have a person located in room M4 on the 3rd floor for assistance. She said, though, that won't be able to handle intake the first days due to the volume of people. And then I got another one that stated that the 10th will not be the launch date due to some differences, I guess, that's going on. So Yeah, I haven't checked anything, but she did say that they are going to have a training starting on 1/17. I guess that's just still go to have people training to help the clients as they come into the courthouse. But Colin, you can follow up with that, and I'll check on to this as well, because I don't see anything. I saw something from yesterday just stating that no, it's not, the launch date is not going to be on the 10th, which would have been Monday, to see exactly where they are.
Yeah, I'm trying to get, I just sent a text to try and get an answer to kind of what the plan and timing might be for an announcement.
Yeah, I'm just emailing Sarah as well.
So that'll get put on hold. We have not
Yeah.
had, given all the stuff that's going on in Durham right now, we have not reached out to
Yeah.
the police chief to come and speak. So the only agenda items that we have is our quarterly policy and planning update. And hopefully, and we need to kind of agree on some goals for a House America plan. And this House America plan is an initiative that is coming from HUD for communities across the country to sign on to say, hey, we are going to rehouse X number of people experiencing homelessness from January 1st, 2022 to December 31st, 2022. And we anticipate potentially having some number of new units in the pipeline for construction. And that doesn't mean the units have to necessarily be built during 2022, but there's, contracts in place or ground being broken for some potential new units. So what part of the requirement of this, and this kind of came up just as Mayor Schul was exiting, and we met with HUD, and Mayor Schul said, yeah, this is something I think we can sign on to. I think the new mayor will be agreeable to it. The community development department sort of said, yeah, we can do this. And now it's sort of in our lap to some degree of coming up with what those numbers will look like. So policy and planning on Monday will be sort of talking about what that rapid rehousing number will be and figuring out what a potential number will be. We would like to take that to the HSAC for discussion and approval, because once we get a buy-in and messaging on that, we have to then put together a proclamation that will come from city council about this. And the number, while we'd like it to be high, we understand that we do have some challenges in place. The hope is that by bringing this to a proclamation that we might get some additional, publicity, some additional pressures, some additional political capital to help maybe nudge some landlords or developers to, help us out to meet these published goals. Because, if we as a city are saying we're going to meet these goals, we as a city, not just the homeless community, need to kind of come together to do that. So that's kind of a very rough background of House America. And then I'm not sure what other items we've got for an agenda for January. So we just need to kind of talk that through. Or we can have a really short meeting.
Can I, Madam Chair, if you don't
Yes,
mind?
go ahead.
I want to go back to something Rita brought up in our last meeting, and I saw it on February for DHA. Are they still not able to come in January? I think even Sharita made mention that sooner is better than later. So are they still not able to come in January?
Have you heard from it, Colin?
To hear from who? DHA?
Yes.
I have to follow up with Karen, she was the one who was working with Anthony Scott on that. And with the holidays, I'm not sure that it got confirmed for February. I know they can't do January, but
Oh,
our goal would be for DHA to come in February.
okay, thank you. And Sharita, I apologize for bringing your name in without talking to you first.
That's okay.
We can add making an announcement about the pit count that'll be happening next week.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Ruby?
Yes, Ruby, yes, that was on the news.
Some of the trainings that'll be coming available.
Yeah, that actually, thanks so much for bringing that up, Ruby. I was wondering how that's going to be done this year. Is it going to be kind of a very limited effort in terms of number of people, or is it going to be resumed where volunteers go back out?
Lloyd?
Lloyd? Hey, Lloyd.
Good morning,
Hey, Lord.
everyone.
Okay,
Good morning, Lloyd.
go ahead.
Colin had asked me to give an update about a point in time count to policy and planning on Monday. What I can say is that the primary focus through the Department of Community Development is to focus on a youth point in time count, and we are just beginning the process of recruiting about, our goal is 16 adult volunteers to be team leads for 16 teams of youth volunteers ages roughly 17 to 24, 25, who would be primarily responsible for contacting other youth to complete a survey regarding housing instability and homelessness with those youth. Housing for New Hope Street Outreach Team, I did meet with Christy Page and Valeria Brown yesterday, and they are planning to do some general unsheltered counting. But my understanding is they're primarily planning to use employees of Housing for New Hope for the general unsheltered count the evening of January 26th and into the morning of January 27th. Any other specific questions around that?
Lloyd, can you talk about, I know that you brought up the specific youth focus, which is what we want to hear more about in policy and planning on Mondays, during Monday's meeting. But the plan for our non transition age youth population, can you just give everybody an update on that piece?
Would you please clarify who you mean by non-transition age youth?
So,
Other adults in general, or?
right, for adults in general and families, kind of what our plan is for this year for point in time count.
Okay, so the street outreach team, thank you for clarifying. The street outreach team at Housing for New Hope is taking the lead on doing some pre-canvassing assisted by the crisis intervention team officers at the Durham Police Department in identifying unsheltered households, including families who might be living in their cars during this time. They're working to have been and will continue to work to make the list of people who are currently unsheltered in Durham as complete as possible. We will be doing outreach to Sheriff Burkhead as well to confirm that there aren't to see if there are any unsheltered households in outlying parts of Durham County that the Sheriff's Department is aware of. And then the work, we will be using the Counting Us app that we're also using for the youth point time count. Be using that to interview people on, again, primarily through the street outreach team and the employees at Housing for New Hope on the night of January 26th and into the they're planning to send out teams, I think, as well on the morning of January 27th to interview people that are on the list, as well as others they may encounter. Does that address the question? We also have the unsheltered by name list that is being maintained on a regular basis through the HMIS and through a smart sheet function that Hanalea has been managing. So all of those resources will come to bear on putting together an accurate compilation of the unsheltered count.
Thanks, Lord.
Okay, that addresses the questions.
So do we want to do a similar update at the HSAC meeting, similar to what Lloyd's presenting to policy and planning on Monday? Is that what I'm hearing?
I mean, it would help, I guess.
Okay.
What you think, Sharita? That's fine to present then?
No, I think I think it's great for folks to know, you know, what's going on, how we're managing point in time count this year and things like that. So absolutely.
Lloyd, what do you think? 15 minutes for presentation, question, discussions, or 20?
15 is fine.
Okay. Sharita, what do you need for a policy and planning update?
Maybe like 5 minutes, maybe 7, maybe 7. Let's mix it up. Say 7.
Seven is complete. Yep,
I like
7
it.
is completion. There you
How
go.
about if we do like 7 minutes and 30 seconds or 29 seconds to make it really random, really keep people on their toes. How's America? Probably 15. I don't think it'll be too long. Be a short. Anyway, all right. What we got a really short meeting. What else do we? Anything else in here?
Are we gonna check in on how White Flag is going?
We can ask. You want me to?
Well, I
see if
spoke
Carol-
with Carol and she gave a good review of it. She might want to come in and share how the first week is. Tomorrow would be marked the first week as it started last week.
Okay. It's like 10 minutes, maybe.
She probably wouldn't need that much.
I'm just thinking if there's questions.
Oh, yeah, probably, yeah.
Okay. Is there anything we need to make any decisions on that are coming up? I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
I have a question, Lloyd. I didn't hear. Hey, Lloyd,
Yes,
for the fit count, it's gonna be virtual, right? You're not going out?
we are going out.
We are going out this year?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was
What-
confused. Thank you for
What-
clarifying.
Oh, wait, you're going out for the youth count. Is that correct, Lord?
So we are going out for the youth count on January 28th and 29th.
Right.
And the street outreach team at Housing for New Hope and other employees at Housing for New Hope will be going out in the early evening, not I think their plan is to wrap up the evening count on January 26th by 8 or 9 p.m. So earlier in the evening, and then earlier in the morning, the following morning, they will be going out again, primarily using staff from Housing for New Hope to interact with other unsheltered people.
So they're going, for the youth is the 28th and the 29th, and for just the regular, everyone else is the 26th through the 27th.
Yes, to clarify, the key question on January 28th and 29th, the first question around housing instability and homelessness will be, where did you sleep on the night of January 26th? So that will confirm whether or not youth were actually homeless on the night of January 26th, and should be included in our overall count of homeless people being reported to HUD or not. But we do have broader questions around housing instability. Generally, we're not encountering a lot of unsheltered transition age youth in Durham. I think last year we had 6 or 8 people in the unsheltered count who were in that age group. We'll see if we have substantially more than that this year as a result of the count. But we're not necessarily expecting that we're going to encounter a substantial increase in that number, but there is a lot of interest among our community partners at the Life Skills Foundation and the LGBTQ Center and others to get a sense for housing instability, general, couch surfing, and people struggling to maintain housing without actually becoming homeless. So that's part of the youth survey as well. That will be a key part of it. That help?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. I would say, I would add finally that anyone who on this call, on this meeting, that would like to be an adult leader, we're just opening a volunteer registration portal. If you want to be a team lead for one of those youth teams, we'll get the flyer out to this committee at least, and probably to the HSAC in general. You can also help us recruit youth volunteers, perhaps children or other young people that you may know of who you can solicit to participate in the youth count. We would like to have a robust group of about 50 transition age youth assisting with the count.
Lord, I have a question. I know that we were in our last housing planning meeting, as it relates to the youth on point in time count. There had been some mention of incentivizing youth to participate, I guess, in helping with the count. And I knew there was some trickiness in the wording of that had to be pulled down and different things like that. Have you guys been able to work anything out as far as that is concerned?
We are still in the process of working that through with officials at the Office on Youth in the city manager's office. And Colin and I have a meeting with representatives from that office next week to talk about that further. We are going to have incentives for youth who actually complete the survey on January 28th and 29th. Specific incentives for youth to participate as volunteers in the count, as we've not finalized that at this point.
Lord, you could count me in for helping. This is Angel.
I will need you to register through the registration portal.
Okay.
And we'll get that
Shoot
out
me
to you.
that information, please, and
Sure
thank
thing.
you.
Sure thing.
Appreciate it.
I think it's important for us just to remember, we're not going back to the big volunteer group that we had in 2020, where we all met at the Bulls baseball park. We're not going back to that size volunteer outreach. It's a much smaller group for the youth, and even smaller, just basically the street outreach and, law enforcement, and perhaps some of Helen's team who are aware of people experiencing unsheltered homelessness for the non-youth count. All the help we can get is definitely appreciated. So thank you, Angel.
Yeah.
All right. We have like possibly the world's shortest HSAC meeting, unless there's anything else that folks feel we need to add.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
A couple of months ago, and without trying to violate HIPAA, there was an incident at Urban Ministries where a baby died because there was no crib available. And apparently the mother rolled over in the middle of the night. It was a co-sleeping arrangement. Very, very, very sad. All that said and done, it's brought to our attention that apparently there are no cribs available for small children like that at Urban Ministries, and possibly even in other locations that serve families with infants. I'm not really sure what we could do to assist with that, but I wanted to at least bring it up to this group to see what your thoughts are.
There was no crib of it. That sounds crazy. There was no crib in the room.
That's
Or
what
the
we were
mom chose
told.
not to
That's what
use
the
it.
crews were told. That's what the crews were. The crews were told. I don't get to go in and investigate at Urban Ministries to discuss that, but yeah.
The only reason I'm asking is because I happened to be at Urban Ministries a few hours after that all happened, and Sheldon shared with me that happened. And I said, well, where was the crib? He said, oh, there was a crib in the room, but nobody used it. So that's why I'm kind of like,
Okay, that actually helps a lot. I can make sure that our folks realize that.
that's what he told me. And that was a few hours afterwards, because I was like, why was the baby in the room? Was there no crib? And my experience in running family shelters is there have been a lot of times that we always went out of our way to make sure there were always cribs and encourage parents to use cribs. A lot of parents refused to use them. And we were always terrified of parents rolling over, especially parents that had substance, and I don't know anything about this case, so please don't get me wrong, but parents who had substance abuse challenges were even more concerning about co-sleeping. So do you want me to see if I can double check with Sheldon on that, Helen?
I think so. And what it will do is will help me to reassure the crews that it's not the facility's fault that's happened. I think that's what's, we go into a lot of different kinds of situations that are very tragic. And this was obviously very tragic. And I think it would help to encourage the crews that were involved and those who were involved in ancillary ways as well, that this was not a fault of the facility. And so there's no negative thoughts towards the facility because of this, because we go there a lot. For a lot of different things. And I think that would help, just to confirm that it was there and the mother chose not to use it.
Okay, I will definitely follow up on that. And my experience in running emergency shelters for years has been it oftentimes cribs end up as storage facilities rather than places for children to sleep. And it's awful that it happened. I know Sheldon's, the staff who were on site were really shaken up by it.
I bet they were. They had to be.
And he and I talked about making sure that everybody was getting connected to, EAP assistance if staff needed it, and trying to get the mother and other family members connected to services if possible.
Did something similar like this happen at another facility last year? Another shelter? No? Colin?
Not that I'm aware of. It doesn't mean that it didn't happen. It just means that if there was,
No, I thought I heard something like this from another shelter that this happened. I might have got it mixed up with UMD though.
I mean, the only other like young child deaths were the carbon monoxide poisoning at McDougal Terrace that I recall.
Oh, okay, no, not that far back.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead, Lloyd. Lloyd, the institutional historian with a steel trap memory may have some insight on it. Go ahead, Lloyd.
Well, actually, I was going to suggest another topic for the agenda, so we can finish this topic and come back to it.
Okay. I think we're done with this topic unless there's something else.
Go ahead, Lloyd.
Okay, I was going to suggest Mayor Schul participated in the HSAC regularly. I don't know what the intentions of our new mayor O'Neill might be, but it may be appropriate whether or not she's planning to participate regularly in the HSAC or use a proxy as Mayor Schul did with Ms. Wade. Might be reasonable to invite Mayor O'Neill to make a brief presentation about her visions, particularly around affordable housing and homelessness.
Yeah, didn't you send that out, Colin, already? You sent that out to her? Because I think Amber continue being her proxy.
I did ask, so there's a process we have to go through for the mayor to speak, and especially with the new mayor. I asked Reginald has to run it through city manager chain. And also when I asked Amber whether or not the mayor was planning to keep the seat, take Mayor Schul's seat on the HSAC, or if she was planning to allocate it somewhere else, because the mayor can keep it or appoint another council member to that seat. Amber said that the mayor was still in the process of going through all of the different committees that the mayor has access, either has the option of, or first right of refusal to sit on a seat, or is required to appoint somebody to come there. And January, the mayor was only a week into her term and hadn't gotten through all of that yet. So I don't know that she's necessarily finished that, given all of the other things that the mayor's been responding to lately. So I can follow up with Amber. I suspect, and talking with Reginald, it may be a couple months before the mayor would have time to be able to come and talk to us about what her priorities are. But I can follow up again and see if I can get that nailed down. And I just did text with Karen about legal aid and seeing if she thought inviting legal aid now or in March would be most appropriate. And it sounds like she's going to reach out to legal aid and see if they might be able to come on January 19th, because if we wait till February or March, they could be completely out of money by then.
Yep.
So it's probably better for us to have them sooner than later if possible. So
And
we can hold a slot for them if they're able to.
And Colin, I think if that we can reach out to the mayor, because she had popped in on the implementation meeting last night while we was on there, her and a few of the council women and men. So it's a good chance you might just pop in for a minute and whatever. We could spend the olive branch.
Madam Chair, if I may, I will say to the mayor that she has been getting the information as I brought up in our last meeting. So I've been sending her the minutes as well as making sure she had the links to the meetings. And so I know she's been reading our minutes and going over the YouTube meeting link.
Okay, thank you.
So if you want me to reach out to the mayor, would you like that for her to speak or find out if she's going to hold her seat or both? If we want her to speak, I think asking her for January is probably a little too short a notice.
Well, Dr. Burke, you're in primarily good contact with the mayor, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I guess we could let you handle that. You could send the olive branch.
Okay. But I
Thank
do
you.
know we had talked about the homeless before, and that's one of her major concerns. And I do mean major. And so, like I said, she is reading the minutes, she's getting the information, but her feet's kind of wet right now. But she is interested in what the HSAC is doing.
Well, if not this one, future. I'm sorry, go ahead, Sharita.
That wasn't me.
Oh, someone.
It was the ghost of Christmas past.
Go ahead. It was the unknown homeless person that said weak. They're weak. Okay. All right, well, I guess we got that taken care of. Anything else to be added?
All right, I will hold a slot for legal aid if they come, and if they come, I suspect there'll be a little bit of discussion and questions. So we can hold sort of a 20 to 30 minute block if needed for discussion on that. Does that sound reasonable?
Okay, I just got something from Sarah. She said we are finally details and we'll make a formal announcement soon, but it's not looking like we'll be launching on Monday. However, we are still on target to launch next week, but have not officially confirmed the date. So I just got that from her at 10:26.
I did ask. Oops, sorry, go ahead, Angel.
Yeah, I had emailed Sarah from Legal Aid and she just sent me that back. So I guess one day next week, she'll have more of an answer.
That's what it sounds like based on what I heard back on my text to Karen, is that legal aid will send out kind of an announcement sometime before they launch. And I asked that we just make sure that the homeless team gets that announcement so that we can forward it out to the full HSAC and COC membership. As soon as that announcement gets made, we'll make sure that it gets forwarded out, and we'll do our best to get legal aid to come to the January 19th meeting.
Okay, or a representative of legal aid.
Exactly.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if this falls to Lloyd or to Colin, but, and I don't even know if this is in our purview, but, and this is off base of what we've been talking about, but what about our testing and vaccination for the homeless? Somebody can help me with that, because I know I'm on the AACT Plus executive committee, and we're getting ready to do one within the next 2 weeks. And I would really like to see if we focus on our homeless population to get them tested. And so I don't know who or how we would do that.
So
So
if I'm not mistaken, Colin, UMD does testing every other week, right?
that is correct. And they
And they go
may,
to both the site at 412 Liberty Street and CDI, correct?
I don't know if they're doing, I don't know if they're doing regular testing at Carolina Duke Inn. I know they're doing it at Liberty Street because of the congregate shelter. I don't know
Right.
that they're doing it at CDI.
And then, Dr. Birch, to just further go forward on your question, this is, and this probably is something we need to add to our agenda, Colin, for policy and planning. Because we were talking about it in November, trying to figure out how, messaging, how to, educate, our population better about, the vaccines and the like. And I think in our Monday night group, there was some conversation about having some people from that group was that mostly like postering, Colin, from the person from NC State?
The NC State person talked about just sort of the best way to kind of market and advertise and encourage people to get vaccinated. And essentially the summary of that report was there's no magic wand that will work for everybody. And the message has to be tailored for each specific subpopulation of a population. So there's going to be some people who are going to respond better to a printed out fact sheet. There's going to be some people who are going to respond to be more likely to get tested or vaccinated because they've got friends or other people they know and trust who can talk to them directly. There's other people who are going to respond better to a trained medical professional or scientist explaining things. And there's going to be some people who just aren't going to listen to anything except for what they want to focus elsewhere. So trying to figure out how to get the right messaging to the right people at the right time to try and encourage more vaccination. It's something that came up on our white flag call yesterday that Carolyn flagged as an issue of folks staying at Trinity and the low vaccination rate, and several people there saying, and believing that the vaccination is a sign of the devil and has negative religious connotations to it. And that's a really big hurdle to have to overcome if people have strong religious convictions and feel it gives them a mark of a beast. Was, I think, that what Carolyn shared with me, somebody told her that if you get the vaccination, you'll have the mark of the beast. I don't know how to overcome that one. So I'm open to, and I think Carolyn and others are trying to figure that one out.
Colin, ironic you say that because I had this conversation with some folk last week. And what I ended up and had to tell them, and I had to put my ministerial hat on because they were asking that same thing. And I explained to them, and I don't want to go too involved into this, but I had to explain to them what the mark of the beast was, and that you only get the mark of the beast if you allow it. It's not, because when they were talking in the biblical sense, a lot of people do not understand what the mark of the beast is or what the tracking is. And as I was explaining to them, if they're looking at scriptures, if they're looking at the Bible, that is not something that just happens. Someone just gives it to you according to the scriptures. And I had to show them in the scriptures that this was something that you willingly took. That you knew what you were taking. It was not something that was being oblivious or blindly done, but you knew that you were taking it, and it was your choice to do so. And so after we had that conversation, and after showing in the Bible what it is and what it was and how you get it, we did have some folk that decided, oh yeah, okay, because I just thought they could just give it. No, they can't. That's not what the Bible says. That's not how the Bible reacts to it. And so, unfortunately, people do have that misunderstanding of what it is. And so we have had to have those conversations.
Maybe, would you be willing, Dr. Birch, if I had Carolyn Schultz reach out to you and maybe, would you be willing maybe to come and talk or meet with folks if they're willing to?
Most definitely.
Because that may help. All right, and Sharita, and I'm so sorry, I misunderstood what you were saying. I thought you were talking about the PhD marketing research person who talked to the medical providers group. So please share what you learned.
And Colin, Helen just put in there the Dr. Fiegel, am I pronouncing that correct, Helen? That they have a healthcare for the homeless group addressing the homeless COVID response. That's gonna, I guess, air on 110 at 5 o'clock. I guess
Yeah,
we could.
we've been meeting monthly. Initially, it was like every week and then went to every other week and then monthly since this whole thing started. And a lot of things have been happening around COVID testing and vaccinations because of people in that group. So I know we'll be meeting again this Monday. Be their first meeting after the holidays.
Okay, that's good, because they had a little COVID, a couple of people that tested positive for COVID that were at CDI, but people really didn't know. So that was kind of a scare, because they were not staying in their rooms where they were supposed to have been out. So any information for the homeless, and I guess for this COVID, whether they want to take the shot or not take the shot, get the information. Not take the information is crucial right now because these numbers are steadily going up.
So, Madam Chair, and you all forgive me, I'm thinking this flu Rona in our January meeting, is it any way possible to have someone to talk about that?
About vaccinations and testing?
No, flu Rona. That's the new word now.
What is it?
It's flu Rona. The
Flu
combination of getting flu Rona, the combination of flu and the coronavirus, and they're now calling it flu Rona.
It's not an official medical term. It's just a
That's
Yeah,
a good
it's not a medical term. It's not a medical term, but it's just what you know. When people hear the news and that's what the news is throwing out now, flu Rona. But it's just a combination of the terms of people getting the flu and getting the coronavirus at the same time, and it's called flu Rona. Is there any way we could get someone to talk about not only the dangers, but what it really is? Because, you know, as we know, people hear stuff, whether it's they catch it on the news or they catch it on Facebook, and then they become afraid to move or to do what is necessary because they don't really understand it.
If you don't mind, my doctor, well, who I'm in the UNC Cure Cab with, Dr. David Magolis, he's infectious disease specialist. And he was the one that broke it down to me because I was one that didn't want to take the shot. But he had broke it down to me and he explained it to me, like, because I'm really hands-on. And the way he explained it and broke it down last year was real educational. I mean, if the board doesn't mind, I can reach out to him and see what he would mind coming in and sharing his expertise on this subject. Now, unless you all know someone else that might can come in and speak on this.
So I put in the chat that I had reached out to the Old North State Medical Society. I was asking if they would be willing to maybe host a talk I
Good.
didn't get a response from that, but ironically, I know someone who's on their board of directors who got me, who invited me to a Zoom talk they had a couple Saturdays ago, and basically they had a lot of well-known and respected people of color just kind of going through information about COVID research, the facts and myths, um, a good variety of people who were very well informed. I learned a lot. And when I initially got the invitation, I was like, it's a Saturday morning. I don't know if I can do it. I just, I want to disconnect on Saturday. But I was very happy that I attended. And I felt like it was a very good talk because they talked about some real things that we hear our patients and our family members and our friends say about the vaccine and the virus. And I asked if it could be shared, and so I did actually get the link, and I think I sent
Is it on?
Colin a message about it because I think one of the things that we need to make sure that we do with any of these things that are coming out is making sure that the representation looks like the population.
Right.
So we need to be mindful of that because for some people, it is just as simple as that. Who is giving them the information? So I will try to get that Zoom link to the I think they put it on YouTube link sent to you. Maybe we show it to open it up and just host a viewing of it, or via a Zoom group or whatever. But there was a lot of good information. Like I learned a lot about especially why it's important for pregnant mothers to be vaccinated, because when you're pregnant, your immune system actually decreases in order so that your body doesn't misinterpret the baby as something something that's going to do harm to you. So they have a lower immunity just by the nature, just the fact that they're pregnant alone. So it makes it so very important for them to be vaccinated. So, just tidbits like that just laid out just that plainly, people who can break it down, making sure people can understand what is being said. So I just think that we need to be mindful as we move forward in this pandemic and, kind of how we're educating those we serve.
That's great. So is it on YouTube? It was recorded, Sharita?
It was recording, and I think the link that I got was a YouTube link. So yes, it was posted on the YouTube. So I'm gonna try to, they sent me it in an email and I'll just forward it over to Colin to disseminate.
Okay, thank you. I definitely want to see that.
Thank you, Sharita. All right.
Okay.
So it sounds like we've got a agenda, and we can move on unless there's any other agenda items that need to go on there. The agenda for the meeting at this point looks like we'll policy and planning update, House America, pit count update, white flag update, and hopefully legal aid can make it. Does that sound like that went from 2 things to a full agenda?
Yeah.
All right. I think, are there any other agenda items that the committee would like to talk through today?
Well, other than I'm going to win the lottery tomorrow, so, but okay.
All right, win the
When
lottery.
you win the lottery, don't forget about the little people, especially when they Sharita McCullough.
I win, we win. Put it like that. I win, we win.
Oh, praise the Lord. 'Cause I get
Like, look,
60%, and that way I can hold on to it.
I'll be like Oprah, you get $1 million, you get $1 million, you get $1 million. Who's when I gotta take that back, but you get half. Okay, go ahead.
You can have the angel.
No, but it was a great meeting.
Right. And I think, Madam Chair, unless there's anything else, you could probably ask for a motion to adjourn unless
Oh,
there's,
Harry, I move to adjourn this meeting. Any
Move,
take?
so move.
I second Dr. Birch's motion to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you. Meeting is adjourned. Everyone have a great day and thank you everyone for all your help. See you
Buddy,
guys.
have a great day and good weekend. Bye-bye.
Right,
thanks
bye-bye.
all. Have a good one.